Good evening. I would like to call the Town of Riverhead Industrial Development Agency Board meeting to order. It is 5:13 p.m. on December 5th, 2022, and I would like to note that we have a quorum present for the meeting. With that, I would like the board to consider the proposed agenda, and I would like a motion to approve the agenda, please.
Motion to approve the agenda.
And second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now I would like to turn to the consideration of our minutes from the last meeting we had on November 7th. In this instance, I'd like to dispense with a reading of the minutes and ask you to approve them. May I have a motion, please?
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And with that, I would like to now open a public hearing with respect to the authorization of video conferencing for the IDA. It is 5:14 p.m. and we are here this evening to accept public comment regarding the use of video conferencing for public meetings. I make a part of the record of this proceeding the attestation of Tracy Stark James as Executive Director of the Riverhead Industrial Development Agency to the service of the notice of public hearing in this matter following notice of public hearing in the November 24th issue of the News Review as the official newspaper of the Riverhead Industrial Development Agency as so designated by the Board of Directors at its meeting January 19th, 2022. I make the notice of public hearing and the resolution calling said hearing a part of the record of this proceeding. Now, could we have an explanation of the procedures by either counsel or the executive director, please?
Bill, do you want to talk
Bill,
about
do you want to talk about the public hearing?
the
video conferencing or?
Sure. So, as you know, the statute was amended to allow you to have video, board members attend. There's a lot of echoing. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. That board members can attend by video conferencing if approved by the chair, and if it meets one of the requirements in your policies, including, illness, sickness, out of town, etc. But you still must have a quorum present of the board at the meeting, and then the person who's joining by video must be able to see not only all the board members, but the public, and the public should be able to see the board member on a screen.
Okay, that's the essence of it, Bill? Does any member of the board have any questions regarding this particular
I do.
approach?
I do. I just had a question about section H. It seems very generalized. In all instances where public comment or participation is permitted and or required. I'm just wanting to make sure that it's clear because we don't really have very expansive technical capabilities. So I want to make sure what we're saying in H reflects what we're actually able to do in terms of the public participation.
So,
So,
you have the
you
policy
have
in
the
front of
policy
you,
in front of you,
by any
by
chance, Bill?
any chance, Bill?
No, unfortunately, I do
Okay.
not.
So,
So,
it states in
it
all
states in all
instances
instances
where public
where
comment or
public comment or
participation
participation
is
is permitted
or
or
required,
required,
members of the public
members of the public
shall be able to view
shall
and
be able to
participate
view
in
and
the meeting
participate in the meeting
via video
via
conferencing
video
in real time.
conferencing in real time.
So it would be somebody like this meeting. You'd be, if you were holding this by Zoom to accommodate one of the board members, then the public could also participate by Zoom.
But so then how would we get the word out that that would be the case? I guess is my question. We're having the chair.
Normally, you would post that on your website.
Okay.
When you post the notice of the meeting, you would post on your website as well that it's that people are eligible to join by Zoom.
Okay.
So in practical terms, that's a Zoom link, I guess, right?
it'd be a Zoom link, just like.
if-
Right, just like we would have to share with the board member
If the board member has a
Right.
Zoom link, you give that Zoom link to the public, I guess, in effect.
via the website.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure that
All I had to do was pull that out.
Yeah.
and then normally, you know, just logistically, you probably have Tracy, policing that Zoom link so that if somebody wants to speak or said, you know, they wish to speak or present, she can let them in, but you don't want people being able to just, come in and start speaking out of turn. So she would, you know, Tracy would be, policing that Zoom link, to protect the integrity of the meeting.
of the meeting.
And
Right. So in
Okay.
essence then, basically, if someone wants to participate by video conference, we have to have a quorum here physically.
correct.
So we can have up to two
Thank you.
two board members participating by video conference.
Yeah, and before this, a number of IDAs were, you know, even when they had the full board, everybody there, were allowing people to participate by Zoom, you know, because of COVID, a lot of people didn't want to come out. So, you know, practically, you know, you always could have had the public participating by Zoom. Now, at least, as long as you have a quorum there, other board members could join in by Zoom as well, without it being open to the public. So if you were meeting, say, at your home because you were sick, you didn't have to open up your home to the public the way you did prior to this amendment.
Yep. Okay.
So I guess the question is, so the intention is unless there's a board member who requires participation via video conferencing, there, over the normal course of action will not be via video conferencing, that
Correct.
the
Well,
normal course of
Correct,
business
you
will
know,
be that
unless
our
there was
meetings will be
some
a town hall.
extenuating circumstance, you know, for example, you had an applicant who was coming in from California and couldn't make it there, you know, something like that,
Right.
where, you know, some of the other IDAs have done that, or people just said, look, I can't come because of, you know, health issues, because of COVID, there's still people who will not go out in public. So, you know, you can, as accommodate those speakers, but you don't have to.
Right, and this policy will allow us to do that,
Yes.
yes.
So my question though, with regard to the same paragraph, is that, is it necessary to put, in all instances where public comment or participation is permitted and or required, should we just have required?
Well, I mean, you know, for example, if you're doing a public hearing, and you want, you know, people permitted to speak, but they're not required to speak. You know, if you're having an applicant, coming before the board, they would be required. So it really depends on the
Okay.
context.
I just want to be clear that, so we're not, video conferencing will not be available for every public hearing,
No.
but we will be here at town hall for every public hearing, and there will be a quorum of the board here. It is only in the instance where where a board member receives permission from the chair to participate via video conferencing, that it will be open to others, and that will be posted on our website.
Right, so, at the request of a board member is one instance where we could use video conferencing, and we could notice up to 4 days prior to the meeting. I would do that via our social media, and if I can get it on our web that fast, I'll do that, whatever means we can do.
Okay.
I use, to get it up, that will be video conferencing, will be notified, but a quorum will actually be
Be
here
here.
anywhere.
It will always be
Anyway,
here, right.
The question she has is, can we do the same and offer video conferencing for other instances, such as what you mentioned with a client that's in California?
Sure, I mean, that's your prerogative. You can do that anytime. You know, the open meetings law applies to the board has to be present, not people presenting to the board.
Okay.
Board, right, okay. Okay.
Good questions.
Any further questions from the board? Observations, comments? I'm afraid we do not have an audience this evening available to make comments, so we can pass on audience comments. And I think it's fair, I could probably close this hearing now at 5:23 PM.
I'll make the motion to
you.
close.
Yes. And second? All in favor?
Who seconded?
Aye.
Thank you, Doug.
And all in favor, aye.
Aye.
At
Right.
5:23.
And with that, I would like to return to the board meeting. Do I need a motion for that? I don't think so. And note that there's no correspondence for today's meeting to
Correct.
consider. We have no presentations to consider. We do have a treasurer's report, however. Could we have a treasurer's report?
Yes. This is for November 2022. The cash in the checking account at M&T Bank as of November 30th was $79,656.71. The balance in the money market account was $45,035.78, with interest earned for the month of November at $3.71. Revenues for the month of November 2022 included interest earnings of $12.55 and a cross-access covenant processing fee of $2,500. Expenses for the month of November totaled $17,902.41, and the fourth quarter pilot from Atlantis was received on November 29th, 2022, and will be distributed in early December.
Thank you. Any questions? I think we had one thought, concern. We want to, Tracy, could you explain to us what a cross-access covenant?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
That's really for just accounting, for notation. But the Browning project requested a cross easement. If you remember, that was a two-phase project.
It's the hotel.
Marriott and
Right.
Yep.
the Marriott and the Hilton. And the details of the transaction, maybe Bill can speak to, but they needed a cross easement done, that we had to execute some documentation, and there was an administrative fee of $2,500.
Okay.
Yeah, and once the town grants that legal subdivision of, was now one lot into two lots, then one of the hotels will terminate because their pilot's up, and then the other one will remain in effect for the rest of its pilot. But they needed it so they could do the subdivision because two hotels use the same access and egress, and they also share some parking.
Which, by the way, I'll note now, because I'd probably forget in the future. So right now, it's one big project. You have double the number of employees
Right.
that we count for that project, because it was all one project. We will be separating it, so you're only gonna count the employees in the Marriott going forward, because that is what will remain in the pilot program.
Okay. And if there's no further questions, we'll move on from the treasurer's report.
we
I
have
guess,
to approve?
yes, I was gonna say, should we approve the treasurer's report, actually?
Yes,
Have a
please.
Motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I move to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Turning now to committee reports, there are none tonight. There is no old business tonight either to discuss. And in terms of new business, we have two items. I think the first one is pretty self-explanatory. It's Resolution 53-22, which is our, I believe it's an annual notice published with our proposed meeting dates for 2023. If the board is comfortable with this schedule, I'd ask for someone to move or to be approved.
I'll make the motion.
And seconded?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
I did.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the other resolution for tonight, which is respect to the video conferencing, which we discussed earlier. And I would also ask the board to move to approve this resolution as well.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that brings us to the executive director's report. Do we have anything tonight, Tracy?
Just a little, as you're aware, I think I said during the last meeting, or maybe by email, that our IT guy retired, And so we did find a new one, and, we haven't purchased any new equipment, since even before my time. So we're operating on really some antiquated equipment that does have glitches, and, the IT company came in to look at our stuff, mostly for Denise's computer, because she was complaining of it being slow, but he said my computer was actually really bad. So the quotes provided, I provided you a quote sheet in your packet. They're off the New York State contract, list, so those are the best, prices we'll get. I am not going to move forward with this at this moment. Given our financial situation, I want to wait till we close on our next project. But this will give you an idea, and these prices will be, they're already actually expired. So we'll have to do it again, and at bare bones minimum, we may phase this in as we get some more funding. I may need the computer. That's about it. That would be the bare bones minimum. And if we did the whole package right now, it would be, and he used all the hours anticipated, it would be $6,700. But we're gonna hold off for now. I was actually going to, request that it was okay with the board, but I just want to wait.
Okay.
All right.
But we will work on making sure my backups are all working and that I'm not gonna crash.
Okay.
That's all. Office equipment, computers, and the reason, we didn't have the public hearing this evening was because I still need an estimated assessment, to do an accurate cost-benefit analysis on Restaurant Depot. It was no fault of theirs, necessarily. It's a combined effort between public-private to try and get this estimate from our local assessors and/or a private, tax firm, but we're just having difficulty doing that. So until we get that, we're postponing the hearing.
All right. No further questions from the board on either topic? All right, then we can move on to, there's no need for an executive session
There's
today,
no
is there?
need for an executive
So we can
session.
pass on that, which brings us to an adjournment. And I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And we will adjourn this meeting at 5:31 PM.
Was that Lee who did the second?
Yep.